Hey friends, it's been a while. Long time no see. I think the last time I uploaded a video was June? It's been too long. I've been focusing on TikTok and school and tons of other fun stuff in my life, so I haven't been uploading here. That said, we've got about 1,000 new friends here on the channel, so I wanted to welcome you. We just reached 2,100 subscribers. Woo! I'm so glad you're all here. I assume a lot of you came over from TikTok because we've had a lot of growth over there as well. So yeah, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is like a different side of me that you get to see on here, where I get to do, longer form stuff. So I wanted to welcome you, and I also didn't want this video to just be welcome to the channel, because there's other fun stuff we could talk about too. Now, something I want to do in 2021 is to sort of shift my YouTube channel to be more focused on books. Over on TikTok, I've really enjoyed having that sort of book community and talking about, something pretty consistently. We're not sort of jumping all around to different topics. We get to talk about books and give each other recommendations. I've really enjoyed that, and I want to bring that over here. So I hope you're down to come along for the ride. I know a bunch of you will be, so I'm super hyped about that. So with that in mind, I want to show you guys the books that I read in December. So December was a pretty good reading month for me. In November, I only read one book, and that book was none other than Warriors Into the Wild, one of my favorite books from 5th grade. That one was so much fun to read, but I'm glad that I got to read a bunch more in a wider variety this month. So the first book that I finished this month is Martha Wells' Network Effect from the Murderbot Diaries. So if you're unfamiliar, the Murderbot Diaries is a just fantastic sci-fi series. Most of them are novellas, and this is the first full-length Murderbot novel that came out. Murderbot is a lovable robot human construct, and it might not sound like it, but Murderbot is like a very lovable character. You get to know it. It does go by it. Since Murderbot is a construct, it doesn't have a gender, and actually says at one point, that is gross, I want no part of that. Let me just read you the first page of this series real quick, and you're probably going to want to read it after this. I could have become a mass murderer after I hacked my governor module, but then I realized I could access the combined feed of entertainment channels carried on the company's satellites. It had been well over 35,000 hours or so since then, with still not much murdering, but probably, a little under 35,000 hours of movies, serials, books, plays, and music consumed. As a heartless killing machine, I was a terrible failure. Murderbot is great. It is introverted and compassionate, but also cold and ruthless at times. Very, very interesting character, and I really liked this addition to the series. The beginning and middle I thought were a little slow. There was a lot of combat with not a whole lot of plot happening, but by the end, goodness gracious, I loved it. I loved the ending. The ending completely saved it for me and just reminded me why I love Murderbot so much. So really, really good book, Network Effect by Martha Wells. The next one I finished, I did not see this one coming. This is not a sponsored one, but The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. Book of the Month sent me this one, and oh my gosh. I'm not usually one to read romances, but the description of this book sold me on it. I'm just going to read it to you because, goodness gracious. When chef Charlie Goodwin gets hit on the head on the LA set of her reality baking show, she loses her critical ability to taste and smell. Meanwhile, Charlie's identical twin Cass is frantically trying to hold her own life together back in their quaint mountain hometown while running the family's bakery and dealing with a breakup that just won't end. With only days until Christmas, a desperate Charlie and Cass do something they haven't done since they were kids: switch places. But when rugged firefighter Jake Greenman and gorgeous physician assistant Miguel Rodriguez are thrown into the mix, will the twins' identity swap be a recipe for disaster or for getting their lives back on track? Really fun, light book for the holiday season. I had a lot of fun reading it. It's not what I typically read. It was a nice change of pace. Would I read it again? Probably not. Would I recommend it if you're looking for something light for this time of year? Yeah, sure. It was perfectly good. I liked some of the characters, and the plot was interesting and fast-paced. The writing was not too, complicated, but it kept the story going. Did the trick. I enjoyed this about as much as I thought I would. It was pretty good. So the next book that I finished this month is The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy, I think is how you say it. That's an S, not an R. Got it. So I gave this one to my sister for Christmas, and I read it in the bookstore. It's kind of long for a kid's book, but it took me 20 minutes to go through it. And goodness gracious, this is great. This is heartwarming. It was simple and profound all at once. Really good kids book. But funny enough, everyone who's ever recommended it to me has been an adult. I've never met a kid who has read this book. But it just has life lessons and good themes, and gosh, it was really nice to read. To show you some examples, like this page, it says, "Sometimes I feel lost," said the boy. "Me too," said the mole. "But we love you, and love brings you home." Oh. Or this one. "One of our greatest freedoms is how we react to things." Really simple, but gosh. Yeah. The artwork is beautiful. Most of them are black and white, but occasionally in this edition there are some watercolors as well. And it just looks so nice. The vibe is amazing. Look at that. Goodness gracious. Beautiful. The next one I finished, I don't have the physical copy of, but I read The Life of Pi. The last time I read this was in high school, and this time I listened to it as an audiobook. I honestly think I liked it a lot better the second time around. I enjoyed it the first time for sure, but it was also assigned for school, and I wasn't super into it. I didn't really sit with it very much. But this time around, listening to it, I could, go my own pace and take it in as I wanted. And I really, really liked it. Because once you read it and you know the ending, you can go back and read it with a completely different context for what the story means and the messages that are portrayed in it. Really, really good. Especially if you're someone who's interested in religion and identity and how those things combine and swirl within ourselves. Pi is such a good character to explore that. Because not only is it a suspenseful book, but it also has just so many layers that you can peel back. I'm sure I'm going to be rereading this many times in the future and just always finding new interpretations of the different occurrences in it. So very, very glad I went back to that one. I think I read that freshman year of high school it was assigned. And I saw the movie around then as well. Also good, but not quite as good as the book, I'd say. And then the last one, I think this is going to be the last book I finished this month. It's This Is How You Lose the Time War. So this is a sci-fi sapphic romance, and my girlfriend read it and marked up the whole thing, annotated it, and then gave it to me, and then I read it and I annotated the whole thing. And so now this book is just full of our thoughts and our reactions to things. And goodness gracious, I've read few books that are like this one. This was so good. It's very much soft sci-fi, I'd say. Kind of like how there's hard and soft magic, where hard magic is very defined rules and expectations of what happens. And soft magic is anything could kind of happen. This is definitely soft sci-fi. So if you like that, then this will be great. If you're not used to it, it took a little bit of getting used to for me personally. But I mean, the writing is beautiful. The descriptions are fantastic. Just the love story is incredible as well. So really good book. It's also very short. I think that the soft sci-fi really came in handy with this because it makes the universe and the science involved seem so big and incomprehensible in such a short amount of pages. I think this is 198 pages. It was a breath of fresh air. It's emotional, it's beautiful, it's compelling, all the words. I think if you know V.E. Schwab said, "Holy shit, this was good." And I just started Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I've had this on my TBR forever, and gosh, I'm so glad to finally be getting to it. I've heard so many good things. This will probably carry me over until past New Year's, so this will be probably my first book of 2022 that I finish. But yeah, I'm so excited for it. Again, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate this community that we're growing here, and I want to do more book stuff on here, so stick around if you're interested in that. If you haven't seen me on TikTok, definitely go check that out. That's where I've been doing most of my videos recently. Link in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.